I have a couple questions that Dennis and I have a notes thing that we edit together, and we put thoughts and all that kind of stuff in there. And one thing we do is we put some questions, hypotheticals, or just kind of thought provoking questions. So I picked out a couple that we're going to answer, and I think it'll give you a little bit of glimpse into Dennis and I's personality, and I think at least one of the questions will show you how different our personalities are in some aspects.
Mhm.
And I kind of cheated because I knew which questions I was going to pick, so I had been thinking about the answers, and Dennis has been maybe thinking about it for like an hour or two.
Mhm.
Um, so what I will do is I'll ask the question since I came up with it. I can even go first. That'll
Sure.
give you a little more time,
Yeah,
and
please.
then we can talk about it. So the first question I want us to answer is, we kind of talked last episode about the inspiration for wanting to do a podcast,
Mhm.
um, and we probably should have answered this last week, but it came to my mind. You see the big podcasts; they always have special guests. Always have special guests. So my first question for us is, I have four, but I want you to give me a couple people, whoever,
Mhm.
that you would want to be our first special guests if that were ever to happen. So I'll go first, and I think my Dennis knows me, so some of these answers will be pretty straightforward. But there's one that I don't think he's ready for.
Mhm.
Um, so the first one is the most straightforward and the one I think you would expect. I have growing up, I was a big wrestling fan, right? I
Mhm.
think I told you this.
Mhm.
I have a tattoo. The only, I guess, gag tattoo. I can't think of what the proper term is, but I have a tattoo for this guy.
Mhm.
So my first guess, without doubt, would be Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's a little old now, but I would love to have had him in his heyday. But even now, I would
Mhm.
fanboy if he showed up. I was a huge fan of wrestling and him specifically. He was very. I was probably 10 or 11 when you figure out that wrestling is fake, scripted, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
So I knew what he was doing was an act, but still, the fact that he got to go to work, he beat up his boss, he's throwing up middle fingers. I mean, he's cracking beers, he's doing whatever he wants.
Mhm.
Um, so I've kind of, me well enough to know that that's kind of how I operate now. I don't I'm not violent towards my boss or anything, but I kind of do what I want when I want, say what I want.
Right.
I'm pretty straightforward, and I think
Mhm.
that's modeled after his persona.
Right.
Um, so he would easily be the first guest. I have so many questions
Yeah.
with all his interactions with all the other superstars that he worked with and his life experiences. So he would be first. He's the most predictable. Second one is also predictable since you know me.
Mhm.
In the musical world, I'm a huge Blink 182 fan. I have several tattoos of them,
Mhm.
um, that maybe eventually on video I can show you guys. I don't have this set up right now, but they're also a little older. I would love to have them when they were like our age,
Mhm.
but still, I would love to have those three guys on, just because they were a big part of the music I listened to at 13, 14, 15. So that sticks with you. I still
Mhm.
listen to them to this day.
Mhm.
Um, so I think I would be stoked to have those guys, especially Tom is probably the one that would be he's the lead singer. He would be the most fun to have on, I think. Travis is probably the most popular, right? He's the drummer. He's the one. I forget which one, but he married a Kardashian. So he's probably the most mainstream right now. But I still think all three of them would be
Mhm.
fantastic to have on. A third one would be the one you're not. I'll give you the other one that's kind of predictable.
Okay.
I'm a 49ers fan.
Mhm.
Um, I haven't said where I did my fellowship, but telling you who this guy is, you'll know why, where I did it, and
Hmm.
why I kind of like him, on top of the fact that he plays for the 49ers. So the third one would be George Kittle, right? He's currently my favorite player in the NFL.
Mhm.
So he's the tight end for the 49ers.
Mhm.
He was also a huge wrestling fan growing up. I think he still is. He seems like a pretty straightforward, fun kind of guy to hang out with.
Mhm.
Um, I did my fellowship at Iowa. He went to Iowa
Mhm.
that's where he played his college football.
Mhm.
And now he happens to be on my favorite team in the NFL. So I think between being in the NFL and the fact that he is a huge wrestling fan, I think we would get along extremely well. So he would be the third one, and then the last one you would never guess, but
Yes.
just things I've seen from YouTube videos and all this other kind of stuff would actually be Post Malone. I have seen several videos of him hanging out with people. Everyone says he's really laid back. He's like a normal kind of guy.
Mhm.
Likes to have fun. He's also extremely popular. But I've heard his concerts are really good. I've seen clips of his concerts and stuff.
Hmm.
So he seems like a really laid back and chill kind of guy. And I'm sure he has some fantastic like stories and life experiences.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think those are the first four. There's so many other ones
yeah,
I
for
could think of, but those would be the four that I would start with.
Yeah, I think Post Malone. He just had he was with Impractical Jokers too. I watched Impractical Jokers, and
See,
he
yeah, I mean, like,
he had an episode. He was just like he does. He seemed like a very laid back,
yeah,
uh, unique
for
guy.
someone that's like just a massive star, like
Right,
when you get to be that good, you kind of have to have an ego, and a lot of them like lose themselves in that ego and become different people. But at least on a surface level, it seems like he hasn't lost
right.
that, which I respect. So
And he's so young still too. Like that's the
yeah,
thing. He's young and he's massive star, and seems like you said, the service level seems like a good dude. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think if I was to have people on the podcast, we're going like stars. I think it'd be really cool to have like Pat McAfee, just that personality
yeah,
that I don't know. Like I don't listen. I listen to a decent amount of podcasts, but I think having like Pat McAfee, Skip Bayless,
yeah.
um, um,
So you want some fire starters?
I, you know,
Skip Bayless is a fire starter.
I've been watching Skip since he was on Cold Pizza. However long
God,
ago that
Jesus.
was.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's a long time ago. Yeah,
When I was a kid, and so I've followed Skip from Cold Pizza to Undisputed now. I think that would be awesome to have him on, to listen
I
to his
think his
experience.
co-star would be fantastic. I think Shannon would be fantastic.
I like
I
Shannon.
actually watched some of his podcasts. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
So,
Shannon's
and he
got
seems
so
very
many.
authentic.
Right. And he's got so many like stuff that he like his grandma or his
Yeah,
grandpa and like all these like stories. You're just like and Shannon Sharp and Sterling Sharp, their story of where they came from, like in the
yeah.
house.
I saw a clip the other day where Shannon said he didn't take a shower in someone's bathroom until he was in the NFL. Like that's how poor they were,
Yeah, like
which is
that's
crazy. That blows my mind.
mhm. And yeah, now people who I mean Shannon's what 50 some
He
years
said
old.
55. Yeah.
He's not that old to have
Hmm.
that mind blowing, uh,
Hmm.
I think I really like your Stone Cold one. That was also my favorite wrestler. Either Stone Cold, Bret the Hitman Hart. I liked them both. Probably Stone Cold a little bit more. I see where you kind of get that, that not that not caring. Like I have to do this job.
Hmm.
I'm doing the best at my job. Whatever it. Like I love
Yeah.
that persona. Um, I agree with you. I think I would like to have somebody like
Give me a musician. Give me one musician you would like, because I think this is where our personality is going to be drastically different.
for
And the
sure.
type, because you're more of a country, and I can't stand country music. And I have a feeling if you pick a musician, it's going to be a country music
It would.
musician,
I think
Morgan Wallen or somebody like that.
it'd be really cool to have Morgan on, but I think I would probably pick Brantley Gilbert. Um,
Okay, I'm
which
vaguely familiar with him.
yeah. I mean he's not like a superstar. He wrote I think his where he came from, being a drinker and making some poor decisions, and then he's covered in
Hmm.
tattoos.
Yeah,
And
that kind of
so
guy.
yeah, it's so I figured
Yeah,
his music is country, but it's more of a rock side of country.
yeah,
And so I think, and I like country, but I also liked rock. And so I think I followed him from the beginning of his career to where he's at now with his, family life. And I think him would be able to tell a lot of stories, and it'd be a lot of cool stuff. I actually went on a cruise ship. My only cruise I've ever gone on was a country music cruise ship where he was the
hmm,
headliner. And so that was kind of cool. Um, but yeah, I'd probably, Brantley, Morgan Wallen,
yeah, yeah.
Luke Combs. Those are my kind of guys. I know that's not your kind of
Uh-uh.
dude. Um,
All right, then give me. So we got Pat, we got Skip,
mhm.
we got get Brantley Gilbert. Give me one athlete. If you're going to pick an athlete, who are you going to pick?
Man, oh man. Um,
'Cause
current,
you're a Browns fan, so there's
I
not
am,
much
yeah.
to choose from.
No, there's not. I think athlete. I oh, man. I mean, I think Giannis has got a great personality. I'd go basketball
Giannis would
just
be a good
because,
one.
yeah,
Yeah,
Giannis would be really cool. I think Luca would be really cool because he's from another country and he's, so popular
yeah.
at different places. trying to think who. I mean, LeBron would be really cool. I think LeBron would be cool just because when I was in high school, my high school actually played against his high school in the Final Four.
You got
And
smoked,
so,
I'm sure.
yeah, we were on
Yeah,
Sports
yeah,
Center, throwing up some dunks and stuff like that.
yeah.
And so to have him on, because I actually still kept the pamphlet book that you get, like you pay whatever $5 or whatever it is
Yeah.
for that day's game. And so it has like all of the high school players from all the teams that were competing in the tournament and stuff. And so like I have LeBron, so I'd like love to have him like sign that or something one
Or
day.
have him autograph it.
Yeah, I saw my ticket stub from that game as well. I held on to that, yeah. And so I think that would be cool. Two hometown guys just hanging out. You know, I think those would probably be where I would go.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think. I think Shannon probably would have been my fifth. Like if I
Yeah,
had to
yeah,
give you a number, I want people that are like who I perceive to be like authentic and real and like are going to give me real answers and not. I don't want scripted answers. I also wouldn't want to like deal with like a whole bunch of red tape. You know, like
yeah.
oh, you have to go through this guy who then goes through this guy who then contacts the person, or you know, I have to give you the questions ahead of time to like so you can
Right.
rehearse and practice. I want someone that's just going to like show up, answer.
Offer
We're going to hang out for an hour or whatever it is.
something.
If I drink beer, you know, maybe we crack a beer, but
Which is
so I think
also
that's
something interesting we can get into. You know, Gage has
yeah,
never drank in his life, so yeah, I think that's
yeah,
an interesting thing. But yeah, I think this is a great time to wrap up the episode here. I hope
yeah,
everybody enjoyed this. Please, you know, shoot out to our social medias. I know
yeah. We're
we
on what Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. It's all rad underscore talk underscore DG. I think is that what it
right,
is?
right,
Yeah,
and wherever you get your podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Podbean.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, hit us up, and we look forward to talking to you guys again, hopefully next week.